This video gives a brief overview of MillWrite's 3D surface options to give you an idea of what you can do in 3D. MillWrite lets you create different types of geometry, such as drilling points, stars, ellipses, slots, and gears. The 3D surfaces are a special type of geometry. They are referred to as surface grids because they are rectangular areas that MillWrite will cut by sending the tool zigzagging back and forth while moving the tool up and down in the Z-axis. MillWrite produces CNC programs that control only three axes, X, Y, and Z, or a rotary axis instead of either X or Y. MillWrite does not produce programs for 5 or more axes that allow the tool to tilt. Therefore, MillWrite assumes the tool is always perpendicular to the surface, and as a result, MillWrite cannot cut a 3D surface grid that has undercuts. Also, there will not be any sharp edges or corners because the tool is constantly moving in the X and Y axes as it travels up and down in the Z axis. If you put a circular hole in the 3D surface, the hole will have a slight taper to the sides. If you want a hole to have vertical walls, you have to tell MillWrite to add an additional machining operation to contour the inside of the hole after the surface has been cut. You can create 3D surface grids yourself within MillWrite, or you can import an STL file. You can resize the STL files, and you can determine how many zigzag paths you want to cut it with. However, since MillWrite controls only 3 axes, you can cut only one of the 6 sides of an STL file at a time. MillWrite converts an STL file to a surface grid. MillWrite provides a variety of editing features so that you can alter the surface grids. For example, you can crop them to keep only the rectangular portion you want. For a more complex editing example, I will create a cylindrical surface. Now I will create some text. I will use a TrueType font in order to show the raise and lower function. I will set the raise and lower increment to 0.05 units. Now, every time I click the raise button, the area within the font is raised upward by 0.05 units. If I click the lower button, it drops down in the Z-axis by 0.05 units. I will switch the text to a single-stroke MillWrite font. Now I will use the Cut Centerline option. I will select the option for the tool to cut material rather than add material, and I will select a ball end mill. I will also set the option to follow the surface, and I'll give it a tool size of 0.2 units and a cutting depth of 0.05 units. Now when I click the Apply button, the tool follows the text and it cuts into the material just like a ball-shaped tool would do. Every time I click the Apply button, it cuts along the center line of the text by another 0.05 units in depth. I will undo that and then set the tool to add material instead of cut material. Now when I click the Apply button, the tool behaves in the opposite manner. Instead of cutting, it adds material in the shape of a ball end mill. An editing option that requires a bit of hand coordination and artistic talent is the option to do it as I draw. After selecting this option, I select the type of geometry that I want to draw. I will select points. As I move over the surface, MillWrite will add or cut material when I click the left mouse button. For example, I will click now, and you can see that it has added some material to the surface. If I now click again, it has added more material. I will click a few more times and let the spots overlap, and you can see that it is building up material. If I switch to drawing a line, I can add material to the surface along the line that I draw. I will click the left button to terminate that line, and now it will let me continue drawing the line, and I'll click again, and it lets me continue drawing the line, and I'll click again, and then I'll click the right button to cancel. If I switch the tool to cut material, it does the same thing, except that it removes material in the shape of a ball end mill. Next, I will select the Draw Circle function, and with the tool set to cut, it cuts material in the shape of a circle.